Every workplace has a power dynamic, and most of the time, the person at the top of that dynamic wins. Most of the time. Today's story is about a man named Marcus. 25 years at the same company, multiple roles, deep institutional knowledge, the kind of employee that keeps an organization running even when no one notices. And then a new boss arrived, and Marcus's world changed overnight. This is Real People, Real Verdicts, where real stories get the truth they deserve, and where you decide the verdict. Let's set the scene. Marcus had been with the same company for over 25 years. He wasn't just an employee. He was the institutional memory, IT contracts, supplier management, vendor relationships, the kind of knowledge you can't hire. You can only grow it. And Marcus had been growing it for a quarter of a century. Then came the new boss. The new boss had a system. It wasn't complicated. Fire the people you didn't hire. Replace them with the people you trust. Loyalty over competence. Connections over track record. One by one, long-serving employees disappeared, replaced by the new boss's network, people who, in many cases, had no idea what they were walking into. Marcus saw it coming. He started applying for other jobs quietly, professionally. No drama, no scenes, just a man reading the writing on the wall. And then the call came. The new boss pulled Marcus in and told him about a new project, an exciting opportunity, a fresh challenge. Don't take on any new work. Wrap up your current projects. Sit tight and wait for the details. Marcus knew immediately there was no new project. His contacts inside the company confirmed it within hours. There was no budget. There was no plan. There was only the exit. So Marcus did exactly what he was told. He wrapped up his work. He stopped taking on new projects. And he sat at his desk applying for jobs every single day for weeks. And then he got one. An offer letter arrived in his inbox. A new company. A fresh start. He accepted quietly. When the call finally came from his boss, "The project isn't happening. We're letting you go," Marcus barely flinched. He already knew what was coming. But here's what his boss didn't know. Marcus knew his employment contract better than anyone in that building. And buried deep in that contract, in the clauses that the new boss had clearly never read, was a redundancy provision. A significant one. If the company declared his role no longer required, which is exactly what the new boss had told HR, Marcus was entitled to a payout. Not a small one, not a token gesture. $200,000 coming directly out of his department's budget. Marcus walked into the redundancy process with everything in order, accepted the payout, shook heads, thanked people, walked out. His new job started the following week. The moment Marcus told us about, and this is the one that stays with you, was the look on his boss's face when someone finally told him the number. His face went pale. $200,000 gone from his team's budget because he fired someone without reading their contract. A few weeks later, word came back through Marcus's contacts. The company was advertising his old role. Nobody else knew how to do it. The contracts were expiring. The suppliers were confused. The institutional knowledge Marcus had spent 25 years building had walked out the door with a pep in his step and $200,000 in his pocket. He told us he loves his new job. Less stress, better culture, and the kind of workplace where they read employment contracts before making decisions. And here is what Marcus's story teaches us that no business school ever will. Institutional knowledge has a price tag. It just never appears on any balance sheet. For 25 years, Marcus showed up. He learned the vendors. He managed the contracts. He kept the systems running. And when he walked out the door, that knowledge walked out with him. Within weeks, the company was advertising his role, not because they missed Marcus the person, because they had absolutely no idea how to do what Marcus did. The new boss had spent months consolidating power, hiring his people, building his network, and in doing so, he had quietly dismantled the one thing that actually kept the department functional. The contracts began expiring. The suppliers went unanswered. The institutional memory that Marcus had spent a quarter of a century building, gone. $200,000 was not the cost of firing Marcus. It was the down payment. The real cost was everything that came after. But here's what nobody talks about when they tell this story. Marcus never gloated. He never went back. He never sent a message to his old boss with a screenshot of his new salary. He simply walked out, started fresh, and built something better somewhere else. Because that's what people with genuine talent do. They don't need to watch you fail. They're too busy succeeding. The new boss needed Marcus to be nothing, so he could feel like something. And Marcus let him have that feeling, all the way to the bank. 25 years, one contract, one boss who never read it, and one man who did. Sometimes that's all the difference between walking out empty-handed and walking out with everything. So here's the documentary verdict. Marcus did nothing wrong. He followed every instruction. He wrapped up his work. He sat tight. He waited. He complied completely. And when the system tried to discard him, the system he had spent 25 years building, he simply held up the piece of paper that said, "Actually, it's going to cost you." The question I want you to answer in the comments is this. Should employees be required to disclose their redundancy entitlements when they are being let go? Or is it entirely the employer's responsibility to know what they've signed? Drop your verdict below. And if you've ever been in a room where someone's face went pale because of something you knew, I want to hear about it. We'll be back with another story. Until then, read every contract, both sides of it,